Hello, welcome to the Konnekt-000-7 experience. Here, we come to the podcast where human connection is everything. If you're trying to connect better with those around you, you're in the right spot. So please, sit back, relax, open your mind, and enjoy the experience. Okay, alrighty. Welcome to this episode, guys. You all are amazing. I am the host of this amazing podcast, Darius Mills. And today's episode, which is our 71st episode, which sounds weird to me, is going to be a very great friend of mine by the name of Darius Mills. But before we go into that, you all know I have to share an announcement and a fun fact with you. So announcement is quick. It's like I said last episode, let us get through this challenge and actually get the page to 1,000, the Konnekt-000-7 page on Facebook for our actual anniversary, our first year anniversary, which is in November. So November 20th is our anniversary. So get the page to 1,000. And once we do that, pretty much I have a surprise for everybody. So I'm not going to take too long on that. Y'all get that because I'm going to keep reminding y'all pretty much until we get there. Now, for the fun fact, actually, which is pretty interesting, I must say, I kind of have questions. So hopefully I have some people in Uganda who can message me on this. But the fun fact is, in Uganda, around 48% of the population is under 15 years of age. Of the 41 million inhabitants, nearly half of those are youths. If you were to expand the age to just 30, that brings the percentage up to 77%. So that was very interesting. I kind of have like a lot of questions I'm grateful. I'm happy that everybody's young, but I got questions kind of like, be really populating really fast over there. Like, you know, that probably sounds so ignorant saying that, but I just want to know. But that is the fun fact for today. And that is that part. I would like to hurry up and get my boy on here, my man Darius Mills. And a little bit about him before he talks is, if it was not for this guy, this podcast would not be here, because we did a podcast, it feels like years ago, but we did a podcast before this. And honestly, I didn't know what a podcast was until he mentioned it. He was like, hey, we should do a podcast. And I was like, what's a podcast? And he broke it down for me. And yeah, so if it was not for this guy and his mind and his just business vibe and then some, yeah, Konnekt-000-7 podcast would not be here. So he is like the OG for this. So with that being said, I would like to invite my guy on here. Hello, Darius.
How are you?
Fantastic, sir. Fantastic.
Good. Okay.
This is going to be totally like fun because me and you, we just vibe. We just vibe.
We do vibe. Yes.
Literally. So tell them who you are, what you do, where you at too, because that's going to be interesting.
Okay. So I am currently 28 years of age. I was born in August 6, 1991. So I'm a Leo sun, Cancer moon, Pisces rising. I don't know if you're following this in astrology, but they can Google that if they want more information. And I teach Hoodoo practitioners to manifest money with a step-by-step Hoodoo system that has been proven and repeatable. And I do this with an 8-week course by the name of the Hoodoo Breakthrough. Okay. Yes, I said Hoodoo with an H, not a voodoo with a V. They are different. So for those who are wondering what Hoodoo is, it's just a system of magic. It originated in West Africa during the transatlantic slave trade. The slaves were brought from West Africa to America. And in this process, the slaves were utilizing their traditional Yoruba religion, and they didn't have all of their ingredients, if you will. So they had to make it happen with what they had. They had to make it happen with tree bark and a grass here, and to just make things happen and to manifest wealth and prosperity, or to manifest harm to their slave owners. So they used and created Hoodoo as a practice. So it's not a religion like voodoo. Voodoo is a religion. Hoodoo is simply a system of magic where you can make stuff happen. Using what you want to get what you got. It's like spiritual soul food. A little bit of this, a little bit of that, you're going to have a result. And I've used hoodoos to manifest a job in South Korea. I am an English teacher, an ESL teacher, so I teach small children English as a second language. And I'm currently in South Korea right now. So yes, that is like a little introduction of me. Yeah.
I love it. Yeah, because literally so because I have questions and I love this. So I actually met, so how me and Darius met actually was, it feels like forever ago, bro, but I know it's not that long. But was that last year? The year before last? Something like that?
It was definitely the year before last, at least.
Yeah, it feels like much longer, but we met, I worked at Cracker Barrel, and I have a friend named Lisa, and I ended up leaving Cracker Barrel. And so Darius came to Cracker Barrel sometime after I was gone. And Lisa messaged me and say, hey, there's this guy here. He reminds me so much of you. He's positive. He has a light here. And I would really like for you guys to connect with him before the darkness of Cracker Barrel gets to him, because, Cracker Barrel was crazy. So I was like, okay. She was like, yeah, like he's just like you, to be cool. So I was like, okay. So she gave me your number, something like that. We text. And at the time I was like all on my like spiritual wave and stuff like that. And so I was like, okay, cool. Let me see where he's at. So as I was talking with him, Darius was like on point. Darius just was ready. Darius knew a bunch of stuff. He was just like on it. I didn't have to tell him much. He just, oh yeah, I know this. So we met at a park, and we chilled. We got to know each other. We relaxed. And then like after that, I mean, things just started to just accelerate. So yeah. And not only that, but like I mentioned earlier, Darius has like an amazing business mind and his mindset on a lot of stuff. So Darius was very strong in a lot of areas that I was very weak in. So we just really hit it off. So that's like a little bit of how we met. And then transitioning to now, I will say a little bit of the backstory. I mean, he could tell you this, but I'm going to say it. A little bit of backstory. I know Darius was always like passionate about like, having more and doing more. And I do remember you were saying like South Korea was like your dream and stuff like that. So it's awesome when you have a very good friend of yours who has a dream. And when they have this dream, you see the steps that they did and they're finally living in their dream place. So I know South Korea was there for him. And through everything, I seen how he got there, and it was just really cool. And to this day, I still like talk about, oh yeah, my friend is in South Korea. Oh, by the way, my auntie said hello, and she mentioned, yeah. Right. So there's that. So, but yeah, dude, everybody is super excited, and you are literally an example of. I mean, I'm sure you know this, but if you did, you literally are an example of someone who had their dream, and obviously it's still growing and developing. But you had your dream of going to South Korea, and then boom, it happened, and you're there, and you're living your life, and keeping up with you now, I'm still hearing the amazing updates that you're doing. So it's just really amazing to have a friend and witnessed it, and they're doing that. So that is awesome. So I wanted to let them know that. Now, with the hoodoo, so that is very interesting to me, because you gave me more insight, because I knew you were doing it, but I didn't know, I never really sat down and like, hey, so tell me about it. So it's pretty interesting because a lot of people don't know what that. I damn sure didn't know what it is, and I feel like it was pure ignorance. So what you just said. So I'm gonna speak like for them. So they. I feel like a lot of people are like, what the heck is that? Or magic? Like, what do you mean magic? Like, oh, that's bad, or that goes against what we've been taught, or what do you mean? So, but like you said, that was just like the heritage and more, and that was their natural like way of things there. And then when they got over here, yeah, they had to make so go more into that. Like, hoodoo, what do you go through when you tell someone who's never heard of hoodoo? What are their responses? All of that. So all of that. What is that like?
So I recently experienced this yesterday. I was hanging out with some friends in Korea. There's a lot of people who are from different countries. So it was me being from America, 2 Americans, someone who's a Hmong. I don't know if you know what that is, a Hmong, but she's a Hmong. It's like an Asian-ish kind of thing, and someone from South Africa. So we were just discussing spirituality, different belief systems, our culture, where our home country is right now, where we are in Korea. And I actually let them know I have a hoodoo business, and it was kind of like an unveiling moment. Like I took off a mask with these people, and they all knew what that was. I don't think they knew exactly what. They knew it was like magic, and it was kind of freaky-deaky. Because I said I'm very interested in going to New Orleans and just experiencing hoodoo in that city, in that culture, and seeing what it's like, and they were able to connect the dots from there. But most people don't know what it is. When mind you, I was not raised in a hoodoo environment. So to my knowledge, I was not raised in a hoodoo environment. So I had no idea I would be where I am today using hoodoo. That boggles my mind to this day. I was actually doing psychic development coaching about a year ago, and it was something I'm still very good at it. It's something I teach in my course now to a certain extent. And I thought like, okay, this is my calling. I'm going to do psychic development coaching for sure. I was having a consultation with one of my students about the next week's class or whatever, and she was mentioning someone on Instagram. You might know this if you're watching. You might know someone by the name of House of Hoodoo. She mentioned them on Instagram, and she spoke about these candles that were transformation. It was literally transforming people's lives with a damn candle. Like that blew my mind. Like, wow, this person changed someone's life with a candle. So I did my research. I checked her on Instagram. I've read all of her testimonials. I became obsessed. I did as much research as I could about hoodoo, and I realized that to a certain extent, I was already doing hoodoo, pretty much, because I've always needed one singular modality to take all of what I know and put it into one act, one motion, one movement, if you will. So psychic development coaching, Reiki master, energy work, doing intuitive readings for other people, teaching people to do all that I know, understanding the law of attraction. All of these things are things that I've mastered up until this point of coming to hoodoo. So when I found hoodoo, it was like, yes, I can finally take what I know, put it in one compartmentalized little item and have it work phenomenally. Mm-hmm. So technically speaking, I have less than 1 year with hoodoo, but the results I'm getting suggest otherwise, because I've had plenty of years with other forms of spirituality, understanding how these things work, how these things coincide. So you asked about what magic is. Magic is just bending the universe to your will. What people don't realize is that you're bending the universe right now. You just aren't doing it consciously. So you are bending it in the way that benefits you. And what hoodoo is basically saying, hey, I want this, I'm going to do this to get that. And that's what's going to happen. That's the result. You're like setting out an intention with an action, and you're getting that result back to you tenfold. Now, I said I was not raised in hoodoo, and technically I was not, but comes to find out my great-grandmother, my Nana, who I did not really know because she passed away when I was very young. I see her face, I know how she looks, I can connect to her in spirit, but apparently she was also doing hoodoo. I just didn't know about it. What can I say? My grandmother, it's not someone, she's not spiritual at all. If my Nana is hoodoo, my grandmother is Jesus Christ. They're very different entities in their own right. So these things were never taught to me. Being a spiritual person, you go to psychics in your very early stages. And I'd hear that my great grandmother was always watching me, always with me. Of all the spirits I have, she was always with me, always proud of me. And I was always told she was always laying tricks or always using her magic. And at the time, like, oh, okay, she was intuitive. She knew how the world worked. Now being in the place I am now, she was doing fucking hoodoo. She was doing magic work herself. She was doing that type of work. And I spoke to this with my mom. My mom can recall times of my grandmother having my great-grandmother, not my grandmother, my mom can recall times of my great-grandmother having items around the house that were uncanny, like herbs and different bottles that weren't usual, and using Florida water and things that most Christian people do not use. Okay, so these things were apparently in my lineage. I just had no idea until I stepped into my power. And going forward, I'm realizing that all of these different identities of what I thought I would be living or what I would be doing aren't authentic. Like lately, I'm trying to get initiated into Vodou, which is not voodoo. I'm going to give a little lesson right quick. So voodoo is like a Hollywood kind of like like, oh, voodoo doll, woo, woo, woo. Yeah, there's some truth to it, of course, but voodoo is its original name, its original form. It's kind of, so voodoo, hoodoo, and Santeria all come from West Africa. And during the transatlantic slave trade, these different slave ships went to different areas. Some went to Cuba, Florida, Louisiana, Haiti. And but because the source was the same, the crux of everyone's different religious beliefs were all the same, but because of their different slave owners and then where they went, it kind of shifted and molded into different practice. So Santeria, Cuba, Vodou, Haiti, Hoodoo, New Orleans, or that area. You see what I'm saying? So there's different, the crux is the same religion of West Africa, but it kind of went in different areas because of the slave trade. So for that reason, there's different practices and different beliefs. Hoodoo is just magic, whereas Santeria and Vodou are actual religious beliefs, and you have to be initiated into them. So I'm actually looking towards getting initiated, because although Hoodoo is just a system of magic, when you become initiated, you're basically coming in contact with higher entities that are suggesting that they are going to be your right hand, and they basically become a part of you, and it kind of increases your practice. You're more able to become a better leader for other people. You're able to teach them the wealth of Hoodoo and your whatever practice you may possess. So it's just interesting how these doors are being unveiled to me. Unveiled. I would have never thought, I'm like, oh, I'll be initiated into Santeria or something of that nature. That never crossed my mind. And yeah, I'm just really excited going forward. I don't know if I answered your question. I probably gave like an 8-minute dialogue about some random crap. I don't know what the question was right now, but I'm just talking.
No,
so
you
I don't know.
that
answer your question? Okay.
Yeah, because I was actually all about like, so explain more, because you're educating me. I don't know like that. So this is good for other people, because I'm sure everybody has heard of voodoo,
Yes.
has heard of Santeria. I've heard of them. So you answered it, and you educated me on just like they were all like the same, but I get it when you go to different places because of the slave,
Yes.
So, okay, now this is my question then for this, because this is, and I know you love things like this. It's out there. It's like, oh, that's like taboo. Oh, we shouldn't talk about that. Oh, magic. That's the devil or stuff like that. Or that's bad. So what do you do like with people who fear this, who are unaware of this? Because I have always heard of this in the typical Hollywood or negative things. So an example of that is I actually have my sister who was telling me that a neighbor or something like that was doing voodoo like outside or something, or whatever he was doing, but like he was like somewhere and she could like tell. So she was kind of freaked out. And I was like, well, do you feel like you being bothered by it? She was like, no. I'm like, okay, well then you should be good. Then keep it moving. So I'm asking you to cure the fears and ignorance right now. What do you do with that? So how would you educate them?
So my most recent encounter with ignorance. So living in Korea, you come in contact with other people, right? You create these groups of other Americans or whatever. There's a group on Facebook for just brothers and sisters. So like Black people who are in Korea living their lives. So I joined this group when I first came. About a month ago, I was called to post in this group about Hoodoo and asked, oh, who else does Hoodoo in Korea? I was like called, like it was like ringing in my ears, like, okay, do it. So I did that. And I was like, okay, so are there any Hoodoo practitioners in Korea? This is a Black group. Hoodoo is very much an African-American based type of spirituality in America. So I'm like, okay, who does Hoodoo? And some of the earlier comments were like, the fuck? They think you're talking about Hoodoo? You're crazy, you won't fuck with that, basically. But I didn't really pay it any mind, because immediately after that, the comments were like, hey, Hoodoo is a very big thing in America. It might not be your religion, but be respectful of this group. And it was like the admin and the owner of the group saying, hey, nigga, calm your shit down. Hoodoo is a very actual thing. If you don't like it, you can leave, basically. So I didn't need to say anything. So I just had the owner of the group said something on my behalf, and that comment got like 100 likes, while the other ones only got like 10. So it was very apparent that people in the group, whether they said it or not, were on the side of Hoodoo. Now, with that said, going back to being called to post, I met someone who added me on Facebook who is hosting a spiritual event in the capital of Korea, and they're asking me to speak about it. So I was able to get my very first speaking engagement as a Hoodoo practitioner in Korea, because I followed a calling about posting in this Facebook group. You see what I'm saying? But I encountered haters in the beginning, but very quickly after that, it was nothing but abundance. So how do I deal with them? I don't. They're already dealt with. I don't need to deal with them. They're already dealt with. As I said before, I didn't do anything. Someone else, the admin of the group, the owner of this group said, nigga, shut up, basically. And they did. Literally. Okay. Literally. So I don't really deal with it at all. I don't need to. It's already dealt for me. I'm taken care of. When you are in your power and you're standing in your passion and you have spirits on your side who you constantly honor, they go hard for you. They'll never lead you astray. They go hard for you.
I feel you. Okay. So I have a question. I'm not a Hoodoo practitioner, but I have a question. So when it comes to magic, I've always, I guess, they always made this appearance. So I can't say I know, but it was just like appearance. It's like, okay, so when you do it, it's like this even exchange of things, right? So like, if you cast a spell or something like that, there has to be some type of even exchange, because if not, it's some type of issue, something like that, right? So what is, explain that to me. Explain that to me.
That is an excellent question. I was literally just discussing this like 10 minutes before we did this. So it's very fresh in my mind. And I'll explain it this way. There is a spirit by the name of High John the Conqueror, a very popular spirit in the Hoodoo community. He was a Haitian slave who was known for overcoming obstacles and freeing his people. Okay, so he loves the energy of coffee. So when a spirit wants a certain type of physical means, that's how we honor them. We give these spirits the physical means that they cannot achieve in the spirit. So to us, getting coffee grounds is like, go to the grocery store, $5, we good. But to a spiritual entity, it's like, I can't buy no damn coffee. I can't go to Walmart and get coffee. So by doing that, we're giving them something they hold extremely valuable, while we might hold a certain energetic vibration that, yes, you can access in this world, but they have access to like that. So money, I focus on teaching people to use Hoodoo to manifest money. So I work with High John the Conqueror to manifest money. So I give him coffee grounds, because to me, that's like, okay, whatever, nothing to me, but to him, it's a massive energetic vibration that he loves. He gives me the vibration of money because that's something I love, and he has all the access to it. But to him, it's like, whatever, money, I don't need that shit. See what I'm saying? Like coffee grounds, whatever. So it's an even exchange, because on this realm, coffee is nothing to me, everything to him. And on his realm, money is nothing to him and everything to me. So it's an even exchange. So we're giving in that way. Does that make sense?
Makes sense. Yeah. Okay. All right. Wow. That was good. Okay. Yes. That was really good. All right. Bet. Because I was like, I've always seen that. I can't say no because I don't. I've always they always seen that like in TV and things like that. So that's really interesting, dude. I must say, like I didn't know nothing about it. And I'm glad you actually said something about that. Like, I'm glad you're doing it and actually teaching other people, because I love learning different things, especially stuff that's like out there that I've never heard of before. And I didn't even know this is a big thing in America. But it's, I guess if you're not on that wave and you don't know it, you're not going to hear it. So I'm sure now that you're explaining it, I'm pretty sure something's going to pop up. And I'm like, oh my gosh, it's there. Wow. Okay. That's interesting. And low key, I get, cause I always tell on myself on the podcast, so it's okay. I've always kind of like, I don't know. I always felt like, it's weird, but I've always felt like there was something in my family lineage, like, who knows stuff. Like how you said, it could have been like with your grandma, it's your great grandmother. And so I don't know. I kind of felt like if I was to tap into like that, I felt like it would just be natural. But I don't know why. Cause like I would see certain things, and like when you say herbs and stuff like that, just seems normal. Like having a thing to blend it, making the medicine, like that just seems common sense.
Ask your auntie. That just came to my mind when you said, oh, I feel like it's my family. Ask your auntie. The one who said hi to me, ask her. You say, oh, auntie, what's Hoodoo? Just play dumb. What's Hoodoo? And watch her respond. You're intuitive, so you'll know how she responds. Ask her to see how she responds. You'll know. You'll notice something. You'll notice a shift. That just came to mind. So your auntie for sure.
Interesting. Okay. Wow. Mm-hmm. That would be a big shocker if she was to say something. I'm like, girl, okay. But okay, yeah, that's interesting, dude. I like it. It's definitely very different. So, okay, so like, you did answer the question and like an even exchange. That's what's up. Like how you said, the coffee grounds. That was actually perfect explanation. So what are the common questions that you get for, people who they don't know about it, but they're interested, but they have questions? What are those questions that you normally get?
Is it safe, or will I be attacked by demons? How does it work? I don't know where to get started. What do I do? I'm interested, but I'm religious at the same time. Am I being the devil worshiper if I'm doing this? No. So with that said, I think the crux of all these questions are like, is it safe? Are there demons? So let me just explain how energy works. Mm-hmm. Every form of a thought still exists in a form of energy. So every thought you've ever thought exists. It never goes away. So let's give it a quick example. Jesus Christ, religious people, the reason that these prayers are so powerful when you say them is because they've been said for centuries. So when you say the Lord's Prayer, if you are in the right state of mind, you say that prayer, you're going to feel a shift in your vibration because you're tapping into years and years of millions of people over different lifetimes saying these prayers. So you're adding to the collective while tapping into it at the same time. Now, do demons exist? Technically, yes, because people have this, they know what, when you say the word demon, an image comes to mind, a vibration comes to mind, and this has been added to for years and for years, right? Mm-hmm. So can you tap into a demon? Yes. Why will that happen? Notice that in order to come in contact with any type of vibration or entity, you have to match that vibration or entity perfectly. Mm-hmm. So if you come in contact with demons, it's your fault. Basically, is what I'm saying, because you're putting out an energetic signal that's a match for that demon. Okay, or so if there's any sort of fear, you need to check yourself first. And what I always tell people is before you do any kind of hoodoo work, before you light a candle, before you get out some herbs, you need to meditate, make sure your mind is right, clear your space, take a shower, like take an actual shower, clear your body of anything that isn't of your vibration. And then you want to write positive affirmations to kind of set the ground for what it is you're going to bring about. Perfect example. 2 days ago, I had sexual intercourse. I'm like, oh, I'll do some hoodoo right now. I didn't take a shower. I didn't take my own advice. I'm human, it happens. So I did my little work. I lit the candle and I tried to go to sleep. And I had entities like sexually assaulting me in a way, not like punching me and stuff, but like feeling my booty. Like I was fingered in my sleep. I can recall like actual moments. I was like energetically sexually aroused by these energies because I had the energy of sex on me when I lit that candle. So I literally sent an order out to the universe when I sent that candle, and it came back to me that same night, which shows you two things: that what you're doing when you light the candle is very important, yes, but how quick it can come to you. So now that's a negative situation. Let's think of a positive one. So you're able to create a vibration before lighting a candle, and that vibration comes back to you the same day. What about the vibration of abundance? What about the vibration of money, of wealth? That's what I'm teaching people to do. I'm teaching you to utilize the vibration of money, put it into a candle, and have it come back to you in physical form. So I'm allowing you to step into the abundance with the mindset, the energetic being part first, and then use a hoodoo practice, a proven hoodoo practice that I've used and taught people myself that they found success. To light a candle, do a ritual to bring that money back into their lives very quickly, very, very quickly. Like I said, that same night, hours later, I felt the sexual energy. So that just goes to show how the mindset and the roles you're playing before you light a candle is very important, because that candle is like, this is a perfect example. When you go to a restaurant, you tell the waiter what you want, she writes it down, has the cook it, 10 minutes later, bomb, it's there. That's how magic works. Mm-hmm. When you put out that order, if that order is not what you want, that order isn't the order you want, but it's the order you put out is what you're going to get. So you have to make sure that the order you're putting out is in the highest vibration possible. Okay? So it's not just a matter of doing the hoodoo ritual. That's important. It's also the mindset and the meditation and the process you have before you even light the candle. That's very important.
That makes sense, because, going deeper with like you obviously you understand this because you just said it, but going deep for those who are new to all of this, when you really tap into, like, because all of us, every single person has this, we all have this amazing power of creation within us. And the thing is, it's kind of like whatever we put into this machine that we create, we're going to get out. So like if you have a bunch of negative stuff, as they say, you have negative thoughts, you're going to create negative experiences. Yeah. So it's like that, but expanded. So like what you were saying, like with the demons thing. Like if you believe that, you're adding on and you're creating to that. So okay, you're on that max, so that's what you're going to create. But vice versa, if you're like, yeah, nah, I ain't with all that. That ain't in my. You don't got that issue. So yeah, none of that exists in your world, like your reality and things like that. So also, like you said, being with your intention and the energy with it, that's like super, super important. And making sure, like you said, making sure yourself is clean and things like that. So it's how can I put it? It's like a common.
Yes, common sense.
Yeah, it's like a common sense in the energy realm of things.
Yes.
Because I remember it's like this. Because I used to tell people before who was like, oh, well, I need to protect myself and white light. I'm like, well, I stopped protecting myself. And they're like, well, why would you do that? I'm like, because when you protect yourself, when you're creating this shield, you're also giving energy to the thing you need to be shielded from. So there was, telling them like, so probably you shouldn't do that. And it was like, what? And I'm like, energy thing, but energy is powerful, bro. Energy is powerful. And like you said, as fast as it is. And I have a question for you though, with the speed of it, because it seems as though speed, would you say speed of your manifestations and attractions depends on like I'm going to say the mental crap you have in between?
Yes. Perfectly put. I'm glad you said in between. So okay, so let's say I think of nothing. My mind is clear all the time. I have an intention. I light a candle, and I want a result. That result will come so fucking quick, very quick. Because what is happening is when you're putting out that signal to the universe, you might, back to the example with the restaurant. If you put out that ticket and you have tickets before, you have to first get those other tickets, right? You have to get those tickets first, and then your order's coming. Those other tickets are the other thoughts you were having before. So yes, you're now doing hoodoo, but what about before when you were at work, you were in the bathroom, when you were in traffic? Were you having good thoughts then, positive thoughts then? Because first, to get that manifestation, to get your order, you have to get those old thoughts or those old tickets. Okay, so it's like a queue, like it's like you're waiting in line basically, and slowly but surely that line goes. Now, how do you get rid of those thoughts? Very quickly, you meditate. And you'll notice that when you first start meditating, it's hard because all the manifestations are coming through. Those thoughts you're having, you aren't creating them, you're receiving them, okay? Those thoughts you're having are thoughts or signals you sent out, and they're coming back in thought form. So you have to first get rid of them with patience. You just clear your mind, and you'll notice that very quickly, those thoughts will go away, and you'll realize that all the thoughts you're wanting to come will have came after you get rid of those old thoughts. So for sure, like you're saying, you definitely need to get rid of those mental blockages because they're kind of holding up your ticket, and you want your food to come out quicker. And something I also realized is that the way you dress your candles, when I say dress your candles, where you put the herbs around the candles, the length of the candles, how the candles are, depending on the manifestation you want and the result you're going after, you're going to use a certain different type of candle. You're going to dress it differently. Let's say you want like a calm, elongated energy that is like peace. Like if you're doing something for peace and you need like peace just throughout the week, you're going to want to get like a bigger candle, like a longer, bigger candle. You aren't going to dress it too heavily. You're just going to set intentions. You're going to dress it casually because you want it to be a slow burn. Now you can also get long, thin candles that you dress the fuck out of, and it's like a shotgun effect. So you get massive results in a very short time frame because you might need drastic results now. So if you need quick money now or fast money now, you're going to get the kind of candle you use. Or it's very different if you need money, just like, I want abundance. It's a very different kind of setup. So even the herbs you use, the kind of candles you use, and the rituals you do are very different depending on when you want the result to come. It's something I teach in my course that's very imperative for my students to understand. Because they're like, I want money. What kind of money? You want it tomorrow? Do you want it next week? Do you want it like over the course of several days? How do you want it to come? That's very important because you need to know that in order to define how the money comes, because you are the one who's bringing in that money. So how you dress the candles, how you set up your altar, all these things play a role, and your mindset, of course, as well.
Wow, that's deep. That's very deep. Wow, that makes that all makes sense. And as you're explaining this, it's like a lot of these things are like
making sense.
making sense. And then even in the energy realm, a lot of these things are very similar. Like people do these things differently. Like some people may say, oh, well, no, I don't do that. But if you think of like prayer, some people have a very certain setup for when they do prayer, a time when they go, maybe how they dress, a ritual before they do it, or a meditation, you know. So it's like we all do different things. It may be a little different way, but it's the same thing. That makes sense. But it's so I get it, and not to say, oh, it's all the same, but it's just like I'm seeing the commonalities within it all, like the intentions, the thoughts, the actions that you're doing, putting it out there. So a random voice popped into my head to ask is, so I guess it's somebody who's going to be listening to it. A random voice that popped in my head is like, why is it that it seems that the negative stuff happens so fast, but the positive stuff seems like it takes forever and a fucking day?
Because the mindset you have going in is because it's so much easier to be negative in today's society. So it's so much easier to turn on the news and be negative and have a negative mind already on you. Whereas to be positive, you have to write affirmations. You have to go out of your way to make it happen. You have to literally go out of your way to meditate and to make it happen. So our default setting has become negativity. So when you go to do magic and you don't understand how the time and how manifestations work and how they coincide with your mind, your natural state of mind is negative, and your emotions or negativity are so much more enhanced. So these things happen quicker. Now, if you, it's kind of, being super positive is kind of annoying because being negative is so natural for us. But if you go throughout your day being appreciative and just being happy, like intentionally happy, and like just noticing things that make you happy and speaking to these things in conversations, you will notice that the good stuff happens just as quick. Because with everything, momentum plays a major role. Something I've noticed with coming into Hoodoo, I went to school for biology, so I have a very intense background in organic chemistry, physics, or molecular biology, microbiology, like very scientific, proven factual information, math, calculus, algebra. These are all things I know about. So something I realized is that everything is one system. Science, religion, Hoodoo, energy work, spirituality, it's all the same shit. It's the same shit using a different language. It is the exact same thing using a different language. So with that said, what was I discussing? Okay, so now let's go on back to herbs. So you can, okay, when you use money work, one of the most powerful herbs is cinnamon, right? You can have cinnamon powder and cinnamon sticks. So two very, very different energetic signals. Here's why. A cinnamon stick, the surface area isn't as great. So let's put it this way. Like if I have a piece of paper, if I have a piece of paper, you have the front and the back, right? That's all you have of that paper. Let's say you rip it up. You rip it up now into shreds. Technically speaking, you have more of the paper because now more of the paper has been exposed. When you rip it, there's a part that you didn't see before. You can now see, right? That's the surface area that is increased, which means you now have more of that paper. So cinnamon powder, you have more of the actual cinnamon exposed because it's been shredded up and increased. So now that you have these molecules that are much more visible, that makes sense. Does that make sense?
Makes sense, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So cinnamon is so much more powerful when you're doing money work because so much more of it exists. So now I know you didn't smoke weed, but I know someone watching this did. I'm gonna break it down this way. When you smoke weed, what do? You grind it first, right? Because when you grind it, you get higher. Because when you grind it, you increase the surface area and more of the THC is exposed. And that when you take a hit, you're getting higher faster because more of it is there, even though it's the same nug you just had, right? Mm-hmm. When you go to write that L, you grind it first. The same applies to magic. The same applies to magic. Ground up cinnamon is so much more powerful than a cinnamon stick because so much more of it is exposed. So the energy is going to manifest quicker, faster. You're getting higher, quicker, and faster. So all these things are the same. I use a scientific term and a scientific practice to explain spirituality with spiritual results. So these things are one and the same. They're all the same. Truly, everything is the same in a different language.
Wow. Put it all together in a beautiful bow for people. Wow. That is that, my guy. You said it. Yes. Definitely said that right there. And you know what I love too about you is like you have that background, like with biology, like, okay, you can speak to everybody on different levels. Like, okay, so I broke it down to you. Who do? Oh, it's still lost. Okay, let me take it to weed for you. Oh,
yes, I love that too. Yes, I break it down.
Yeah, you can break it down, and like you said, it's one system. Even with science and things like that. Like at one point in time, everybody thought science was magic. So there's that. but breaking that down is just like, it's awesome. So, okay, so a little bit of a shift, taking people back. Now, I know you, and they're introduced to this Darius now, but tell them a bit about you, like before Hoodoo, before South Korea, before the manifestation and things like that.
Before
Who?
the come up.
Yeah, before the come up.
Okay.
Who was him? Who was that guy?
He was a hot mess, child. He was a mess. I don't want to say all of my life was failure, but a good chunk of my life, massive failure. So I was raised in a Christian environment. My grandmother is the Sunday school teacher. She had the key to the church, just to put things to perspective. Ooh. I was in apostolic. Is that how you pronounce it? Apostolic, like old apostolic. So like when you think of a hood ghetto church where people are catching the Holy Ghost, when it's like literally the small of a studio, it is like it was a super small room. If you were in church, you were the choir child. That was how small this church was. There was no choir. There was one little drum. There was a microphone in the bathroom and a refrigerator. It was a very like hood Holy Ghost church, if to put things in perspective. And she had the key to this church, okay? So we were in church before anyone else, literally, because when you have the key to something, you have to open the door for everyone else. So we were the first ones in the church. She was a Sunday school teacher, so we were the only students, mind you. There was no one else in Sunday school but me and my brother. So it wasn't even like, I felt like we were being punished, because it was not an actual school. It was like one-on-one tutoring about Sunday school, honestly. That's what it felt like. This was my grandmother, my brother, and I. That was who was always there at the crack of dawn, guaranteed every Sunday. Going to church was not a choice. It was a requirement. And as you know, being black, you either do as you're told or get your ass beat and then do as you're told. So either way, you're going to do it as you're told. There's no choice. You might as well just do what you're told and save the pain for later, if possible. So raised in a church, I remember having spiritual experiences, so that confirmed to me that there's something greater than this physical. But I knew that the people in that church were not right. I knew that there wasn't a sincerity. There was a facade that I was not a fan of. So I ran from the church. But unfortunately, when I ran, I carried the negativity and the negative perspective of this church. So I didn't realize it at the time, but a lot of what I did in my practices was against the church, just kind of be like rebelistic, like, oh, I don't like what you're doing, so I'm going to do this. And that I found success in that in terms of I found spirituality. And that started with astrology. Astrology was my first gateway drug, if you will. I'm sure people know about Wendy Williams. Well, Wendy Williams has a talk show, but she also posts YouTube videos on her after show, which is like behind the scenes, what happens after the show. And one of her microphone people who does her microphones mentioned that she was a Cancer sun and a Cancer moon. I'm like, what is she talking about? What does that mean, a Cancer moon? So I'm like, what is that? So I Googled it, and I'm like, okay. So I'm like, oh, there's more to astrology than just your sun signs. I knew I was a Leo, but I had no idea there's a moon, there's a rising, there's planets, houses. What is this mess? So I did my research, found out I'm a Leo sun, Cancer moon, Pisces rising. Like, oh, that's cool. And then I'm like, oh, these are psychic signs. Like, I don't know, am I psychic? I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if I can, whatever. I didn't really take it serious. I'm like, okay, what can I do to become psychic? I'm like, oh, I can meditate. So I tried to meditate. I failed miserably. I'm like, just looking back on that was not meditation. It was just like, I was breathing for a second. I'm like, oh, I'm done. I meditated. Not how that works. But I tried to meditate, and I kind of just continued down this path. I found more and more clarity and more things start to make sense. I got into crystals. Well, first I began to really like study astrology to the point where I could like read someone's chart and be like, oh, I know exactly who you are. And I wouldn't charge you for these readings, but I would just do it for my own personal gain. Just let's see if I was good at it. So I did that for a while. Then I got into crystals. I became a fucking expert on crystals to this day. I'm amazing at crystals, sacred grids, working with the energy of crystals. And then I got to tarot cards, started doing tarot readings and stuff, which was freaky enough. Then I moved to Miami. And in Miami, I started giving tarot readings on Etsy. And I started posting these videos that were very, very outlandish, to say the least. Very weird videos, like just very weird videos. Like I just was rebelling against society. I wanted to be different. I love Madonna, so I'm like, okay, I'm gonna burn some shit. Let me burn something. So I burned the American flag. I burned the Bible. And when I tell you, motherfuckers were pissed. Niggas were pissed. Like they were so angry. When I burned the flag, like, okay, this nigga crazy. When I burned the Bible, It's like, fuck this nigga, we hate you, we don't like you. It's like angry people, and I loved it. I loved every part of it. I felt like I was doing something massive in my life. Of course I was just burning shit, but it just felt phenomenal. It felt phenomenal. And I was a waiter at the time, and I was making, I felt like I was in the king of the world. So I made very poor decisions, financially speaking. I had to live in my car in Miami with my small dog for 2.5 months in Miami. Now, that's hard enough by yourself, but having a small dog as that in Miami. So my coworkers found out, my boss found out, they started talking shit, but I couldn't like fuck them up because I need a job. I need this job to find a place. So I couldn't fuck them up. So I'm just like enduring stress at work. Then I go home, I go to my car, my home, and then I can't take my dog into work. So I'm like, okay, I'll leave him in the car, put the window down. Police came to my job, said, hey, your employee has a poodle in the car. We need to remove this. So I couldn't work that day. I had to fucking leave my shift. I'm a server, so not being at work, you're literally losing out on money. Like you're actually losing out on hundreds of dollars not being at work. So that happened. I went to FIU to sleep in the parking lot. The cops found me, said I'm trespassing, told me to leave my car and go up. You can't be here. You can't. So I can't drive away. So I had to leave my car, and I slept on the street next to a bum for one night. It was one of the hardest nights of my life. I slept on the actual street next to a bum with my small dog. I don't know if you met Romeo. He likes to cry a lot. I give him a lot of attention usually. So he's very needy. So he's like making all this noise and showing, nigga, shut your ass up, bitch. I'm cold too. I don't have anything to give you right now. So it was just a very stressful time in my life. So I got out of that situation. I moved back with my grandmother, and I met Thaddeus actually during this time. I was off. I didn't have a job for like 6 months. I needed time just to mental state to get it back in order and whatnot. I met Thaddeus. We leveled up together. He helped me level up with energy work and stuff. I found stability with Thaddeus. From there, I was working and when I moved, I started working at Cracker Barrel for a few months, not very long actually, thankfully, because that place is toxic. I could not be there I was there for I think like 3 months maybe. I think for like 3-4 months I was there. And I'm like, wow, people to this day are still working there. I'm like, bitch, you are crazy. That is a very toxic environment. And what I mean, I'm not just saying toxic in terms of employees, bitch. Everyone, the energy of that place is just toxic. That's a whole other story. But so working at Cracker Barrel for a little bit. And then I got a job at J. Alexander's, which is like a nicer, like more classy kind of, they play jazz music in the background to give you an insight about the place. They play jazz music as you're eating your food. And that was in Palm Beach Gardens, which is like a nicer area of Florida. So like I was slowly but surely making my way. So I worked there for like 8 months, not a full year, 8 months. And I moved to Jupiter, Florida, which is a very nice area. And then I got my own place finally. I was truly on the come up at this point, truly on the come up. I was doing psychic development at this point. I was in Jupiter. I was working at Tiger Woods restaurant in Jupiter, to put things in perspective. He has a restaurant in Jupiter, Florida called The Woods. I was working there, and that is like a phenomenal place to work. It was a great money. I was only there for 4 months, not because it was a bad place, but because I was leveling up. And yes, it was better than before, but I'm here, and this place is there, and I realized that. From there, I got into Hoodoo. I had success with psychic development, but I was led to do Hoodoo, as I discussed earlier. And she told me about House of Hoodoo. I did my research. I started offering Hoodoo as a service. I used Hoodoo to come to Korea, and here I am today. So I could say there was massive failure before the success. I'm not just like, oh, I'm now successful. I'm 28 years old, I'm now successful. No. There was failure upon failure, for sure.
Wow, dude, I didn't even know the part about, I didn't know the story about, like I knew about living in the car, but I didn't know the part with you had to like leave your car and sleep like next to
it was crazy. It was a crazy experience. Mind you, when you are homeless, you try to find anything for excitement or anything for entertainment. So honestly, I'm going to be very R-rated right now. I was masturbating when they found me. I was in mid-stroke, pants down when the light was on me. Can you imagine that? You're shit in the back, you're living homeless, you're already depressed as fuck. You have a dick in your hand, there's a dog next to you, and you have a police officer, which is like, what are you doing here? Get out the car. You have to go. Like I was like this guy on that with my dog, and then I had to leave my car. I felt so humiliated. That was undeniably the lowest point in my life that night. Sleeping next to a bum under a bus stop. You know how to have the bus. It was started raining too. It was a horrible day. And the next day I had to sneak back on the campus, get my car, and hopefully no one saw me. Because he said, if you come back on campus and we find you, we're gonna arrest you. So I cannot be on campus ever again. I can't drive there to this day. I don't think so. I don't know how that works. Whatever. Who cares? But whatever. Yeah. So it was like a big deal. Like it was a horrible night, horrible day. So it wasn't like a fun experience at all.
Wow, dude, that I did not know it went there because I remember you were telling me about it, and I could feel a bit of the energy. Like I was like, okay, I remember you were saying like that was just like a very rough, and I could feel it, but I did not know, dude, it was like that. That is,
Yeah.
dude. And then talk about the come up, bro. Talk about the come up. Like I did not know that, bro.
Very quickly, can we take a quick intermission? I gotta use the bathroom.
Alrighty, guys, and we're back. So. Yeah, dude, like that's a come up. That's a hell of a come up story. I did not know it went that deep. Yeah, that is very humiliating. Like you're already, dude, I gotta give you the strength. I gotta give you your props because to live in your car and then for your people to know and they're trying you at work. Oh, I know that has to be hard because I mean, when that's all you got and you have to make the money, I mean, I guess you'll suck it up, but I don't think I would have been able to like do it. But at the same time, it's like, nah, when you're in that position, you gonna do different things. But dang, bro, that had to be tough, bro. I want to slice some throats. That's what I would want to do.
Yeah.
But here you are now, like creating the courses, and not only that, but you're living your dream, dude. I love it.
Very true. Very true. Life at this exact moment has never been better. I feel like I look the best I've ever looked in my life. I feel the best. I still have a job technically, but when I say this, like, you know how you have the weekend and then Monday, you're like, fuck, I gotta go to work. Mm-hmm. This is the first time in my life I don't feel like, it's like, oh, cool. I get to go to work. Like, I like my boss. I teach students that are awesome. I love the location. I love where I live. I love my place. I love what I'm doing. This will be my last time this will be my last year as an employee for sure, the way things are working. So like my last job as an employee has been my best one. I just feel like I'm in the perfect location at this exact moment. It's perfect. And I'm 28 years old. So I did undergo my struggles, but at the age of 28, I'm still very young. Very young. So yeah.
I love that. And that's actually brings to a question that I wrote down was, what advice would you give for people who want to do their own thing? Like, I know you have, so we know that you're teaching people in Korea and you love it. And then you also have like your business end of it. So technically, like you said, you love it. So this is something that you want to do regardless. So what advice would you give for people who maybe they're at their job, they're probably not at the best point, they don't like how things are around them, shit is annoying, they're tired of waking up, going here, it's not being fulfilled, blah, blah, blah. You know that space. So what advice or tips or whatever you could give for people who want to do their own thing? What would you say?
Three very important things. The very first one is meditation. And I'm not playing. I know it's annoying as fuck to hear that. I get you. Trust me. When someone said meditate, bitch, I'm like, no. Where my money at? I know what you like. I know what that means. I understand. Meditation will change your fucking life. I don't care what you want to do in your life. Meditate. I have a very actionable meditation process I'm going to give to you now. It's called the 4-7-8 meditation. You're going to breathe in for 4 seconds, hold that breath for 7 seconds, breathe out for 8 seconds. Now, that's what, 16 seconds total? If you do that for 1 minute straight, I guarantee you will notice a drastic difference in your mindset, how you feel. This 1 minute will change your entire day. And if you do this every day, your entire life will be changed. So the 4-7-8 meditating is very important. That's number one. Number two, writing affirmations. More importantly, writing petitions. And what is a petition? It's basically a request, and a request that you expect to be filled. That's what a petition is, a request that you expect to be filled. Now, how do you do this? I have a method called the 3-star petition, 3 stars, right? So what are the 3 things you need to write a 3-star petition? It needs to be appreciative, right? It needs to be written in the form of appreciation. It needs to be present tense. And it needs to be specific. So I'll give you an example. I appreciate, that's appreciation. I appreciate having, that's present tense. I appreciate having money. That's what you want. I appreciate having money. What you're going to do is going to write this down. I'm going to write it down. I'm going to write several different ones every single day. So meditate first, write your 3-star petitions, at least 1 page a day. And then the third step is be practical. Be practical. These are spiritual experiences that we're having on a physical realm. This world operates in the physical. Be practical. Do not quit your job if you do not have the money in your savings for at least a year, in my opinion. That's something I've realized, that you cannot make. I have made the dumbest of the dumb financial decisions in my past. So I know the mindset of those who are ready to just jump, who feel like, oh yeah, I can do it. I'm great. I'm grand. I will have success. You will fail and you will regret it later. Not that you won't be successful, but you can only have success when the foundation is laid of success. If you are trying to leap out and hopefully fly, and you could do it, but I would just be practical, and that way the success is guaranteed. So stay at your job and save money. Okay, so 3 things: meditation, 4-7-8 meditation, writing petitions every day, 3-star petition. Number 3, be practical. Do not quit your job. Man, I'm talking to the 24-year-old version of myself right now. Do not quit your job. Do not make very poor financial decisions. Do not do anything financially unless you have the foundation for it already built.
I love that. I love that. Yeah. I'm literally like writing it down because I'm going to put that in the episode for them. Mm-hmm. So I love that. That's like beautiful. That's definitely beautiful. And I got to say, like, you know, it's funny, like, because and this is not to go against what the last part you said, because we already know about meditation and writing stuff down. And it's like, in my particular case, it was very funny. Like it's weird because I still have to discover more with this decision. But like, I know for me, I don't know if I told you the story. Did I tell you the story about why I left the job? Did I not tell you the story?
You said it was a lot. You were just ready to go.
Okay. So in my case, like how you said, be practical. So people, be practical. Be practical. This is not me saying not to be practical, but be practical. But from my experience, it was just like, dude, I was there and I was just like, yeah, okay, so, let me save up, blah, 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 because we could do something different. You want to have some money and stuff like that. But yeah, that shit didn't happen the way I thought it was going to happen. Like my intuition and my heart, I've never felt my heart like on a level like this, but I was at work and it started off, it was like a Saturday. It was a Saturday. It was just me and a coworker, because it was like people were kind of like leaving, so we were short staffed and we were getting busy all the time, and it was just us two. So if one person couldn't make it, whatever, so you get the gist, and you know how it is, server life. So
yes.
Yeah, dude. And it's the whole restaurant. This is the inside, outside. So it was just like one day she couldn't make it. And this is not at her at all. This because she literally, because we were the only 2 servers, she was working downstairs and upstairs. So she was doing doubles on a regular. And she's an older lady, right? So her schedule started about what? She had to wake up maybe about 7, and she didn't get off till about 11-ish, 12, and redo all of that throughout the week because it was just us. So I'm just painting a picture here. And so it was like a Saturday, like it caught up with her. She just couldn't, like her body was just like, no, we need to rest. And so I was just working, and I had worked that Saturday by myself. And it just kind of like, it was like, okay, I can handle it. But it was just like, gosh, okay, so I'm going to do this by myself. I got to take all these orders, blah, 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 blah. So I had some help. I get, and I will say internally, I've always was like, man, I'm not meant to work. I'm not meant to work for nobody. Like I knew that. And I was doing everything I could to like suppress it in a way. Like I would have the mindset, okay, you know what? It's temporary. It's temporary. I'm going here. It's for the business. Money's going for the business. Blah, blah, blah. That's how I woke up. Like, okay, I got to wake up. I got to be here. Blah, blah, blah. And so literally after that Saturday, something happened. It just like something happened internally to the point where I remember to this day, I was driving and my sister was like, hey, how you doing? And I was just like, I don't know. It was weird. And you know me, I'm very in tune with myself. For me to not know how I'm feeling, like I was like, I really don't know, because I was expecting to leave work at like maybe 2 or whatever. but I got there to open and I didn't leave there till like 5:45. And I guess something just kind of like clicked. So dude, I went to bed or whatever, and I woke up and I still felt, I don't know, I just felt off. And I was like, okay, you know, whatever, suck it up. We don't, we don't bring our personal stuff into work. We do our business, keep the personal stuff at home. I walk into the building, one coworker, we're not that close, and he was like, are you okay? And I was just like, what? Like, you don't ever ask me. We on that level for you to ask me. Like, what do you mean I'm okay? He was like, yeah, you okay? I was like, yeah, why? He's like, I don't know, you just seem kind of mad or something. And I was like, I do? And then I was like, well, and I'm like, I ain't gonna lie. I'm like, well, I don't know, dude. I just feel like I'm not meant to like just work. I'm just so focused on like what I'm doing. That was one. The next thing, a friend of mine's, but he lives there. He was like, everything okay? You seem off. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Two people back to back at the same day asking me if I'm okay? Like, this never happens. Then the third person, she was like, yeah, you seem kind of different or whatever. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? So I don't know, dude. Later on, it was just like, I thought I was emotionally tired or something. Because that's what I was telling him. I was like, I think I'm tired, but I slept. Physically, I was good. But I'm like, emotionally, I think I don't know. Something's just off. So it was getting to me. And then I could kind of feel like this almost like slight awareness in my chest. So I was like, you know what? Hey, I talked to my manager, like, hey, I'll be back. Just give me like 15 minutes. I'm going to go buy my car for something. So I didn't go to the car. I went to the billiard room. No one's ever in there. So I went in there and I just meditated, and I'm just like, what the heck is going on? And then I seen like the visualization of my heart. It's usually like this flame, and the flame just like, it went out. And I was just like, before I could finish the thought, I had to quit my job. And then and you know me, you know how I gotta work. I got bills, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, okay, I knew this day was going to come, but I'm like, dude, I got bills to pay, and I'm not in a position to quit. I was like, okay, I'm going to suck it up. Suck it up for the going here. We for to finish this day. No. I have never felt like my life was in danger before. Like my chest, the pressure in my chest had me feeling as though I was going to die. And I had to go back into work. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to suck it up. My heart and my intuition was like, you need to go right now. And I was just like, nah, I got this. Bro, the intensity in my chest was so crazy that I was like, okay, no. Then I felt this, it's like an adrenaline, but I felt it in my chest, and I felt that before. That is danger for me. That is critical. That means, okay, you're about to snap. You need to go. It's going to end badly. There is no. So I was like, okay, fuck it. Bro, we are swamped with people. It's only me and this one person. We are swamped. There is asses in every seat. We're getting calls. The kitchen is backed up. All of that. But it was like, no, bro, you need to go right now. If you don't go, this is going to be bad. And I felt that adrenaline start to rise. And I was like, hey, I got to go. She's like, no, you can't. And I think I kind of snapped at her, and I don't do it. I was like, no, I have to go right now. And I just walked out. I walked out, and I went in the car, and I was kind of freaking out. And I called a friend. I'm like, bro, like, I just walked out of my job. I think I might have to quit. This is weird. I don't know if I'm having an episode. So I went in the car. I was like, okay. And I was driving weird too at that. I was like, I need to pull over because I'm not in the right state to drive. Pulled over. I meditated. And I was like, okay, hey, let me just ask my heart, just make sure, like, hey, was this an episode? Was this a moment? Was it just today? And my heart was like, no, big shit, we're quitting. I was like, oh, okay. And so I'm like, I was freaking out because I'm like, I've never quit a job. I put the 2 weeks in, whatever. But I've never like quit a job. Like I didn't think, oh, I got to call my manager or like, hey, I'm quitting today. I didn't see that happening. And I was thinking, let me just rest. I was like, okay, let me, I got to be to work. I felt like I was being like, I felt like I was dying. Like I mentioned job. I felt like I was going to die. And it was just like, okay, so I have to quit. And then I called him and I was like, hey, yeah. And I texted him out because it was busy or whatever. I was like, hey, yeah, this is my last day. So that was it. I texted him and then I tried to send the message to the other person, but they didn't get it. So I was like, he's the main one. So I'm like, let me let you know. And I let one of y'all know. And then they had got a call or whatever. I don't know. I guess they had called me, but I was knocked out and it was like 9:30 something. So I thought he would have told them, but I didn't show up. So because the place needed to be open at 9. No one was there to open it. And so I talked to I didn't talk to the coworker there that day, but she told me, she was like, honestly, it was time for you to go. And she wasn't in a negative way. She was like, because if you didn't leave that day, you're going to quit within that next week. Because it was a lot of other shit that was happening at the place that I really wasn't paying attention to. But she was like, no, you would have quit. And bro, shit was crazy. And honestly, it's still weird to me because it's just like, my thoughts was like, bitch, what do you mean? Like, so it was just like, yeah,
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't know this. No.
Yeah, bro, that shit was crazy. I was just like, what? Like, it's like, yeah, nah, you need to go right now. And even now, like, you already know, like, position that I'm like working to get towards. And it's just like looking to the thought of looking for a job. When I say it, everything in my cells is resisting it. Not even resisting it. It's just like, when you're not listening,
Yes.
That's what's happening. And like, I was like, let me just look on Indeed just in case, I couldn't even get 4 minutes into it. And I felt like this ridiculous invasive headache coming, and I never get it on that part of my brain or inside. And I started to feel like so weird in my chest. I was like, okay, I get it. I was just like thinking of some backup stuff for it. That shit is crazy. So for those who are on their path, if you can do what he's saying, save. That is the goal. At least a year in there, all your bills, even some emergency stuff, save. But
yeah. And I think a part of being practical is finding a teacher who has a proven method to success that you can pay him for and follow to get where he is. That is extremely practical. So yeah. I feel like I attract a lot of entrepreneurial spirits in the physical, I'm saying, not spiritually speaking. But so I feel like if you're watching this and you want to quit your job, you probably want to start your own business. You probably want to do your own thing. Find someone in that space, an entrepreneur who has a proven step-by-step system to do what they did, and you can pay them for it. And how are you going to pay them? By working your job. That's how I think. That's how I would have done it going back. I made dumb decisions, and if I could talk to my younger self, I would have done that. That's what I'm doing now, basically. Just like investing in my business by learning from other business people, because I have the spiritual, but I need the business. I didn't know how the business works in a modern way, so I learned about that.
Yeah, that's important, and that's really awesome. And you're hitting the nail on the head. Like, then let's actually talk about that, because me and you have this same, I guess, like energy, but we both. Anyways, this is what I mean. Finding someone to definitely help you, and I will say that was kind of like, I just recently am like getting through that. Like it took me some time, but I really didn't think there was like a mentor out there for me. Just to be honest, I was just like, okay, I find somebody. I'm like, okay, they're good, but they're only in this area. So it was just like, I don't really see how it was helping me and stuff like that. So I had this thought, like, maybe there isn't someone out there for me. You know what I mean? And then finally, when I meditated, it was like, no, there is. You just got to open your mind to it. I was like, oh, okay, because I wasn't seeing it. So I remember you were saying that you needing a mentor, a teacher to help you and things.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah, that's very important to definitely have. So what advice would you give to people who may not have thought that they needed a teacher or don't think they need a teacher?
Every teacher needs a teacher. You would not know what you are. You would not have the mindset to even realize you wanted a business if no one taught you how to have a business, or if no one taught you how to speak or to think. Everyone needs a teacher. It's nothing but ego to say you don't. And I say this from personal experience of having an ego, that it is nothing but ego to say you don't need to learn, because I am still learning. Yes, I'm getting people results, but I'm not as powerful as I will be in the future. That is for certain. In a year, I'm claiming this now, and you're going to look back on this podcast, you will notice a drastic difference in who I am and what I do. And in 1 year, I will be a completely different person. Now I level up from day to day and from week to week. So I know how drastic of a change I can be from last week compared to today. So within 1 year, I will be very different because I've relinquished parts of my ego and I've opened myself up to be more authentic to what my heart's desires suggest I need to be. So it's just a matter of realizing that you are not an all-knowing being. Mm-hmm. Sure, what you're doing really, I know something like, oh, but I'm spirit, I'm God. You are in the physical form. And the physical form came here to learn something that the spirit cannot. Because if you were all knowing, you would not be here.
Right. I love it. And I feel like that was let's talk about that, because I feel like that was a struggle too. Like when we're here and then we had to relearn our spiritual side of things. And then once you kind of do, it's like trying to find that bridge with the spiritual and the physical. Like talk about like that whole struggle with that.
That first part of life fucking sucks. It does. My life got good in the end of 27 to 28. My life got great, phenomenal. So you just have to go through. Like, not everyone. Honestly, I feel like the earlier your struggle, the quicker your success. Like, there's someone I follow in the entrepreneurial space by the name of Juliet Tangen, and she is, I don't know how old she is, but she made her first six figures at the age of 16, and that's a very young age to have success. So you can tell she already had gone through massive amounts of failure, massive amounts of stress. She was actually sold into sex slavery at a very young age. So she endured for years hardship upon hardship. So with that said, she already had learned those life lessons so she can come up real quick. 16, making six figures from your own business is a phenomenal thing to be doing. And now she's a multimillionaire who teaches people to become multimillionaires. And she's had, I think, 8 of her students are now making millions of dollars. That's awesome to me. I think she's my age, if not younger than me. And so to have that kind of success at this young age, you have to already have gone through that issue. So don't feel like where you are right now is bad, because it's actually teaching you lessons. But at the same time, take actionable steps to improve your life.
Yeah, that's important. That's definitely important. Wow. And I like that, because like two things. One, you can learn from anybody regardless of their age. If they're younger than you, older than you, or your same age.
Yes.
So that's really important as well. And I've seen a little bit of that earlier in like my journey, where I was around like mentors, and you would see just the different age groups, and there were people who were older, but they had to learn from the younger generation, technology and stuff like that. And even with your peers and stuff like that, like I love that I could talk with you on business and other different stuff, and that I learned from it. And then even there are some people who are younger than me. Yeah, granted, I'm on social media, but it's not like all that. But the younger generation, that's all they grew up on, technology. So they know, oh yeah, just do this or do that, or these hashtags or this, that, and the other. And it's like, oh, okay, I ain't paying much attention to it. So it's good that you can learn from that. And then also the second thing is taking those action steps. And that is important, because I was just talking with someone a little bit before this, is action is very important. And a lot of us, we plan stuff in our minds and we say we're going to do some stuff, but we don't take the same amount of action that we need to for ourselves, versus having to go to a job or having to go and do something for somebody else, but taking that action for yourself. And I know I had to work on that, because I was a procrastinator. Like I was like, okay, I'll do it later. But now it's just like, okay, yeah, bet. Now do the action, do the work, and things like that. So for anybody out there who may be struggling with action, I will definitely say take lots of action. Anything, do something towards whatever you're doing. Get focused, have a vision, and things like that. But yeah, wow.
Yes.
Wow. Okay. So, my guy, what topics or questions you want to ask or shift to and things like that? I'd like to switch it up when I'm with,
Yes. So I wanted to discuss more about Hoodoo, of course. So that's what I do. I don't know if your audience would want to learn how to do Hoodoo, or if they're wanting to take actionable steps. But if you go on my Facebook page, you can literally type in Darius Mills, Darius, last name Mills. Type that in, use my picture, and I post I do Facebook Lives every day. I do written posts. I have a YouTube channel. And what I'm giving you isn't like a little tip or a trick. It's like actionable steps to see results. So if you watch one of my videos and you do exactly what I say in that video, you will manifest money in your life. So if you're wanting to use Hoodoo as a spiritual practice to manifest money, like I want you to check my stuff out for sure. On Instagram, I'm the Hoodoo King. That is the Hoodoo King. The Hoodoo King. On YouTube, I'm what am I on YouTube? Learn Hoodoo on YouTube. Learn Hoodoo on YouTube. On Facebook, just follow Darius Mills. Yeah, and I just want people to be cognizant of their powers they possess, the power they possess to manifest.
Yes.
Oh, and a little self-promotion, but right now I'm actually doing a very, very, very affordable offer. I'm doing what's known as a community honey jar spell. So a honey jar spell is a very traditional conjure work for a hoodoo practitioner to do. It's basically a jar of honey and other ingredients to bring about a final result, right? So honey jar spells are used to sweeten situations, whether it's to attract money or to attract people in your lives. And it's just something, it's like an actual jar. In this jar, you can work it or you can do hoodoo for it for long periods of time. So I'm doing a 15-day hoodoo spell for people on my Instagram. So what you can do is go on my Instagram at the Hoodoo King, and then what will happen is you will find, if you click the link in my bio, you will find a $2 charge for this service. Why is it so cheap? Because it's for the community. So basically, if 10 people pay, that's $20. That's more than enough for me to buy the ingredients and to work it over the course of the 15 days. So you're getting, I think that's a phenomenal fucking deal. If you knew the price of my course is a little more premium, to say the least. So this is something I'm doing for those who don't have the funds to pay for my course, but are still wanting to see results of hoodoo in their lives. Because I don't do individual spells for individual people. So this is the only way you can actually receive a spell from me. So you just go to my Instagram, the Hoodoo King, and you'll see information about that in my description. You can just pay $2, be a part of this community honey jar service. And I'm going to be doing this every 2 weeks, from the new moon to the full moon. So the next one is going to be the 28th of September to October 15th, from the new moon to the full moon. Because if you know anything about the moon, as the new moon goes from, as it's waxing to the full moon, the energy is building and building and building. So all of your spell work, all of your intuition, all of your manifestations are much more powerful during this time period. So it's important for you to do this work during that time period. So every 2 weeks, I'm going to be doing that. So yeah, that's all you can. So that's the way you can do. You can also join my course if you want. Now the course is a little more intensive, so I don't work with everyone. I want to make sure you're a good fit for this. And if you are interested in joining the course, I have to talk to you first. I have to fill you out, because I don't want just anyone in my space. I want to make sure that your highest intentions are the same as my high intentions. You're wanting to just not just like, I don't want you to be like, oh, hoodoo, yeah, whatever. No, you need something you need to be very passionate about, something you need to really want to take action with, because it is an actionable course, and I teach it live. So you will be gaining my access to me as an individual personal teacher for you live. And if that's something you're interested in, let me know by going to my Facebook page or my Instagram.
Bet. And then also, I'm totally going to ask you in written form so I can put it on there. So because
I'll give you all the links, all the information, and everything.
Bet. That way they'll have it on there. Click. Okay. I like that. And there was something I was going to ask you with that. Gosh, I can't stand when that happened. The courses and links and stuff like that. Either or. Awesome stuff. So for them, definitely oh, there we go. Thank you, intuition. How was the full moon for you? So Friday
awesome.
the 13th.
I got a lot of okay, so another thing you guys can do on your behalf is look up a Bagua map. It's feng shui. So feng shui, your room is separated into different corners and different environments, and each corner is its own environment. So what I've been doing is lighting candles, tea-light candles, like very cheap, those little circle cheap candles. I light those candles in my love and marriage corner of my room, because I want more intimacy, and I've been like literally I've been becoming attacked. The closer we've been to the full moons, I'm becoming attacked with love from different partners, intimate partners, flirting with different people, coming in contact with different people. So with that said, you can utilize these small little tips and tricks you can utilize, and with feng shui and hoodoo, just light a candle in a certain corner of your room. So for the money corner, if you walk into your room and you look to your left and you go to like the top left corner of your room when you walk in, that is the money corner of your room. That is where you should be doing your money rituals, your money spells. And what you can do for that area is get some pyrite, some citrine or clear quartz, put it there, have it put some your intentions into it, light a candle, tea-like candles, light the candles every single day. You will notice an increase in your abundance very quickly. Very, very quickly. Because again, these modalities have been around for centuries, so they've built upon enough energy for them to be very actionable in today's society. So if you were to use these things, you will find success with them.
Wow. Okay, then that's some tips right there, guys. He gave you some stuff. But when you look in your room, look to the left, I'm like, okay, the left.
You walk into your room and you go to the top left corner. That is your money corner.
Oh,
so walk into your room. So for you, it's like almost by your patio. I'm like seeing your room, like that corner, by where your TV used to be.
Up against the wall. Like directly behind me now, pretty much.
I don't know where you, because you changed your room since I've been there.
Oh, okay. So, well, you see me here. My window is like right here. The patio is
behind you now. Yes, behind you now. Yes, behind you now. That's your money corner.
Oh, my money corner has water and and a yoga mat. Okay, bad.
Okay. Oh, I've been telling you I want to do more yoga. A friend of mine does yoga. I want to do yoga now, so I'm going to be getting into that. Do you have any resources, like anyone on YouTube you follow?
No, not really, because well, there is one person. I can't think of his name. I see him, but I wouldn't say like, oh, fine. If I find him and he pops up, I'll send him to you. But I started yoga doing Bikram yoga, the hot one.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, that was a while ago. So that's why I learned my stretches now. Yeah, I mean, most of the time, I mean, you can just YouTube, you know what I mean? But yeah, but if you have somebody, yeah, it's fun, dude. You'll definitely love it. When you stretch, especially, you feel more connected with your body, but things are flowing. You feel really, really good. So yeah, bro, I know you will love it. You'll definitely love it. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to do it for sure.
Yeah, awesome. That is something. Yeah. Okay. But yeah, so guys, totally check my memes out. And I'm definitely going to have your information in there. And yeah, do you have any questions by any chance? Or you all set before I go to the next segment?
I'm pretty set. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah. I'm excited. Nice.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay, we're going to talk a little bit after this. But my people, okay, so we finished that part of the podcast, and now we're going to move to the Health is Wealth segment. And as you guys know, I usually do different types of food for you all to try and stuff like that. So last time I did something different, and that one was regarding rest. So we're going to switch up something else. And for those of you who are new to the podcast, the Health is Wealth segment is for you all. Not only are you learning to connect with different people, and you're also hearing from amazing guest speakers like my friend Darius, but also every time you listen to an episode, I desire for you all to come back to the episode a bit healthier and adding that into your wealth asset. So this particular Health is Wealth subject is going to be on, now you mentioned it a bit earlier, but deep breathing. So we're going to talk about that because I am still guilty of this, and I have to be aware of it, but I'm going to break this down for you. And there's a difference between deep breathing and shallow breathing, which a lot of us do a lot of shallow breathing, as in just breathing from our chest. We don't really breathe down. So, So for you guys who are like, okay, what are you talking about? I'm going to break it down for you. So shallow breathing isn't good breathing. So for many people, this kind of breathing is no longer instinctive. Instead, many of us have become shallow chest or thoracic breathers, inhaling through our mouth, holding our breath, and taking in less air. So over time, our breathing patterns have shifted as a reaction to environmental stressors like temperature, pollution, noise, and other causes of anxiety, especially, social stuff. When we breathe in a shallow way, the body remains in a cyclic state of stress. So our stress causing shallow breathing and our shallow breathing causing stress. This sets off the sympathetic nervous system, the branch of the autonomic nervous system that primes us for activity and response. So deep breathing, on the other hand, diaphragmatic breathing, pretty much can lower blood pressure, reduce heart rate, relax muscles, decreases stress, and increase energy levels. And deep breathing grounds us as well. And so for those of you who are like, okay, that's cute and all, but how do I do that? I just sit down, so here you go. So for those who need help with this, my people. So to practice breathing from the diaphragm, lie on your back. I actually do this a lot, especially when I'm laying down. It's a bit harder for me standing up, but I'll talk to you on that. But practice breathing from your diaphragm, lie on your back with one hand on your stomach and one hand on your chest. Breathe in deeply while pushing out your stomach as far as you can. The hand on your stomach will move out and the hand on your chest will remain still. When you exhale, you will feel your stomach pulling back in. Both your chest and shoulders should stay relaxed and still. I do this all the time when I'm laying down, and it feels great. Now, I notice that when I am active, I don't think about it and I'm shallow breathing. And when I consciously think, oh, wait, let me breathe from my stomach, it's like, I don't know. It's just like, it feels like I have to really open up my stomach when I'm standing. So it's uncomfortable and weird because I haven't done it in so long that I'm so used to this shallow breathing. So I can say I'm guilty of it. So I did it today because I was like, I don't want to be a hypocrite and telling y'all to do stuff and I'm not doing it. So I was cooking today and I was like, okay, you know what? Let me take the music down, cut the stuff up, and focus on breathing throughout the stomach. And what I noticed was I was more grounded, more there. It was very different to breathe from the diaphragm, but I will say I felt very there. I felt very in the now, and it felt really, really good. But you will notice that for some of you, if you just take the time now, even if you're standing up and listening to the podcast, if you take a moment to really just breathe, putting your hand on your stomach and really breathe in and expanding your stomach, how that may feel weird to you. And if so, you have been shallow breathing for a very long time. And they say that shallow breathing actually for the long term isn't good for you. So y'all can start switching that stuff up now. So
not to mention little opera singers and great like vocal coaches tell you to breathe where he just said, like verbatim, breathing up here causes tension in the throat, the vocal cords in all ways. So that's actually very proven for many centuries that breathing the way he just described is the best way for sure.
Literally. For sure. Yeah, dude. And it's very funny because a lot of people, Jason, our friend, it's a mutual friend of ours, Jason, he mentioned that there's these little kids somewhere out east. I don't know. I'm going to call them monks or something like that. And they have what they do. They teach people how to actually breathe. And they say a lot of us, breath is important. And they say that when you basically I'm not trying to butcher it, but they just say like, you need to learn how to breathe through situations, through moments and things like that. So like that. Deep breathing. And they say when you're breathing, you're focused, you're in the moment. And they talk about just different stuff and how everything ties down to your breath. And I will say sometimes like I'll be stressing out, especially when you're in the middle of working and you businessing and you're like putting stuff together. You're just, you're in your mind. And sometimes I have to stop myself and be like, let me breathe for a minute. And when I do, it just kind of feels like everything is just kind of like melting away. It's like there's this restriction that I've had in like my head or whatever, and it starts to open up and it's just like it starts to flow again. So if you are, freaking out or you going through some stuff, pay attention to your breathing. That actually may change the game dramatically for you. And again, focus on breathing out of your diaphragm, your stomach area. It will make a difference. I gotta say though, and dude, to be honest, it's like I feel like for me, I have to make that a habit, to build that as a habit to breathe. And it's kind of funny. Like you have to create a habit to breathe correctly, right?
Yes.
It's funny. Like you're a baby, you got it. But growing up, you got all the stuff that, the social pressures, pollution, economic stuff. And it's just like you forget how to breathe naturally. And it's just like, dang, our environment and other stuff really got it to the point like, bro, you're not breathing natural. That's crazy to me. But now Now guys. I was just tired. So with that being said, guys, that is it for this episode. You guys are amazing. I definitely appreciate you all. Deep breathe some more. And I will actually speak with everyone Friday. So with that being said, guys, you all have a fantastic rest of your day.
Thank you for listening to today's episode. Please leave a 5-star rating and share with a friend near you. Remember, the world's a better place because you exist. Know your worth and know thyself.